All right, Niranjan, as you're pointing out, of course, this report is damning in the sense because it essentially says that the Pakistani army hired a propaganda company to spread propaganda against India and to spread an anti-Modi sentiment as well. Facebook essentially censuring about 40 Facebook accounts, 25 pages, 6 groups and 28 Instagram accounts. Let's go across to our guests who are now joining us on the broadcast. Major General K.K. Sinha, Captain Bansal, Major General Soy. Good morning, all of you. Thank you for being with us on Republic TV. Major General K.K. Sinha, if I could come to you first. Major General Sinha, you know, we've always known how the Pakistani army works in an underhanded manner, but this, in a sense, exposes that because, you know, to hire a PR agency to spread falsehoods, you know, on social media is really taking it to another level, isn't it?
Nipur, absolutely right what you are saying. This is a part of misinformation warfare, which is, when you take it in a larger term, it is a cyber war. Yeah, and the timing, the timing Facebook page came up in January 2016. There's a CIB report which has come out. It gives January 2016 when the Pathankot happened. On the 2nd of January, Pathankot attack has happened. Before that, about 15 days back, our Prime Minister Modi was in Pakistan. He stopped over there, and after that, this page has come up. And very interesting is that website, which has been opened in 2019 when Imran Khan has taken over. You know, there is a CJ Post is a classified journal, and in that, the article, there are 6 articles which they have taken out. Those are all from the military. Pakistan military has taken it out. It's a part of a bigger design of misinformation warfare. And this reference of this articles is also there when they have given the dossier to the UN. So the linkages are very, very, deep. Don't, when we say, of course, the CIB report, and based on that, this link, fake news outlets have been pulled down by just 40 Facebook accounts, 25 pages. It is just peanut. If you know both, when the K2 plan was launched by Pakistan, which has got Kashmir and Khalistan, there are a number of pages and the websites are there which is being operated from outside Pakistan. That has not been done anything. There is when the Chinese were there in eastern Ladakh, the area of our Ladakh area was shown in China. It was part of the same Facebook, and it got originated in Pakistan. So what you are saying, it is not only disinformation warfare or misinformation warfare, it is a warfare which has got linkages with the cyber. So this is the first exposure after 5 years. Let's see what happens next.
Right, Major General Soy, if I could now bring you in. Major General Soy, as I was telling you earlier, they have removed about 40 Facebook accounts. They've called it coordinated inauthentic behavior. Now, are we at all surprised that the Pakistani army would stoop to a level of hiring a propaganda machinery, to essentially defame India?
In fact, I'm not surprised. It is like Pakistan army has been doing it in the past also. But General Sinha just mentioned that whenever something major happened or whenever something major is about to happen, then they start building up through the fake news, false propaganda, and they are known to spread false propaganda, peddling malicious content with a view to divide India on the religious ground, to divide India on the ideological ground, to divide India into the political ground, and they've been putting across the point that Muslims are being harassed, whereas in India, if anybody comes here, then they can see openly that they are also as patriotic and they are also being taken care of as any other religion, any other part of the caste, color, creed. So, I was just going through your report only. Last year in September 2020, 453 accounts were also suspended. So they've been doing it in the past also, and it's a good thing that this kind of content is being removed time and again. They are being highlighted that what kind of they are misusing the social platform, which is supposed to be for the spreading better messages, and trying to create rift within India, trying to play with the minds of population, and especially with the English-speaking population, not only in India. Now they're trying to spread the fake news and false propaganda across Middle East and West also.
Captain Bansal, if I could bring you, Captain Bansal, India has been calling out how social media is being used by various interests across the world to spread falsehoods. Now, if I could just go back to this report, it also goes on to say, and I'm quoting from it, that several of these of these platforms actually posted about news and current affairs in the region, including the ongoing global pandemic, criticism of India, particularly in the Kashmir region. Now, what's your first reaction to this? And as we've been talking, it's no surprise that Pakistani army has actually hired a PR firm. But the fact is that, they actually had a huge network to spread out fake news.
Doing it for years. They have their agents all over Europe. Earlier Trambo used to run one institution from Brussels where he would do this sort of a thing. And now they have hired a PR firm. They have
numerous fake accounts, both in Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms through which they churn falsehood. Now, these accounts are mixed with current affair news like pandemic, etc. And in the recent past, they have tried to denigrate India and India's attempts to counter pandemic. They have tried to counter Prime Minister Modi. They have actually tried to project to the world that India has failed on all fronts. They have consistently been trying to propagate to the world that there is huge discontent in Kashmir. Whereas they realize that on the ground, Jammu and Kashmir is thriving and there is a huge developmental activities which are taking place in Jammu and Kashmir. So consequently, they create this facade which they have been trying to do for a number of years. And now I think Facebook has become wiser and they have suspended 40 accounts. But please remember, if Facebook has identified 40 accounts and suspended them, there would still be around 50, 60 other accounts which may not have been identified by Facebook to date. They will get identified in due course. And these people have a habit of creating new fake accounts on the daily basis. So we will have to be vigilant against such fake accounts and such social media campaign that is being launched by ISI and Pakistan Army and allied groups. They have their allied groups in virtually most of the countries of the West as well as in the Middle East, from where these campaigns are often run.
Absolutely. As you're pointing out, of course, advertising for this was paid in US dollars. About $40,000 US was spent on advertising. My colleague Richa also now is joining in from our Delhi studios.
Taking a question to Major General K.K. Sinha. Major General K.K. Sinha, if we take a look at this particular report that we have accessed here closely, it shows and says as to how there was a hate India strategy that was being churned out. There were links to Pak-based PR firms, and they were also posing as international news entities targeting English-speaking audiences globally. This means that this was a concerted effort to globally create a propaganda against India.
Absolutely right. See, if you see this report, and I'm just able to just see because I've just downloaded. What it is, actually the contents are, when you are saying they are in support of Imran Khan, articles are there, the news are there, fake news are there in the support of Imran Khan. They are praising CPAC. They are praising CPAC, means the Chinese angle is there. They are bringing out, they are hating Indian military. And they are saying that Indian military is doing, the atrocities, human rights violations, things like that. And the beauty of this, the beauty you understand this, and when the Facebook has not taken anything to the website has got the CJ post, which I am saying the classified journal. They have not done anything. 40 Facebook account and 25 pages, 6 groups and 28 Instagram accounts. These are absolutely a peanut when you know that there are the website. The website is still on and it has come on 2019. Facebook when it has come, and these pages which has there since January 2016, it includes Pathankot, Uri, your surgical strike, what happened in Pulwama, and thereafter they were just, in the Balakot they have been denying on this. The fake news is, and they have been, that time that election in India, there was an election, they were trying to divide the India into two groups, saying that the minority, and they were saying, at one stage, they were saying 23, the billion people that they were talking about, million people they were talking about, which is actually 14 million. They were trying to divide the Jammu and Kashmir. So I say, okay, it is a good start, which we have been saying time and again. It is a good exposure. They are trying to target the English-speaking people, and the people in the UK, there are in Europe, there are people in America also, and I say this is a greater plan of K2. It is a part of the K2 plan, which has both Kashmir and Khalistan. So this has to, it has to be taken the next step. I do not know how by the government. It should not be just left to the CIB report. The CIB report is the annual report. This report is of 2020.
Right, absolutely. Major General Soy, if I could bring you in. Now, in fact, as, Major General Sinha is pointing out, this is an issue that needs to be tackled, because we have seen this kind of interference in other countries in the world as well. The social media and social media platforms are now actively being used to spread fake news, to spread falsehoods, and are emerging as challenges for governments across the world.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Because the social media platforms are becoming so powerful, and the kind of reach which they have, and now probably they are doing it in a slightly smarter manner, that they are putting the current affairs content, general news content, and in between trying to mold the thing in a manner that which goes anti-India, and trying to bring out, highlight the fake the atrocities on minorities, fake divide in the India, whether it is a Khalistani angle, they are trying to promote that. So they are trying to do it very smartly, but the fact is that the social media has the kind of reach which it has, and the kind of fake news it can spread, whether it is a morphed videos and morphed photographs, edited videos, which affects the mind of the listeners. And we need to be, on the one hand, this kind of thing need to be brought to the notice of the Facebook and the Twitter and the platform. Secondly, we also need to be proactive on this and keep churning out the truth from India. That is very, very important, because people should know what is the actual situation in India. The fake news cannot stand for long. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, Captain Ashok, taking a question from you as well. And if we take a look at some of the figures that have been mentioned in this report, and the Captain Alok, beg my pardon, the amount of money that has been spent on advertising on social media platforms like Facebook and others, and at the same time the following that they had on these pages, it also in a way is shocking, to say the least, because this couldn't have been done without a concerted network or a chain of events that they were planning. They had companies that were allocating such jobs. How important is it for the social media platforms to also be held accountable in such situations?
See, for social media platforms to be held accountable is a little difficult, because it takes time for the social media platforms to realize whether these accounts are fake. And it is not possible for a large social media platform to monitor every post that is coming up from these fake accounts. But we must at least give them credit that they have identified these 40 fake accounts and have taken action. But as I said earlier also, that if they have identified 40 fake accounts, I'm sure there will be 40 more which have not yet been identified, but may have come into the picture much later. So we need to be careful. Pakistan has been known to spend large sums of money, because the money and the funds that are available with Pakistan Army and ISI are usually not accountable. They come from different, they are not budgeted accounts. They actually come from various business activities which Pakistan Army has been running, and other clandestine activities that it indulged in. As a result, they have a huge corpus to indulge in this sort of expenditure. And that's what we have been seeing. In fact, we have been seeing it for long, that at all international fora, they have been spending money to actually get their point of view across. I have personally seen in human rights conference, they send a full team which goes from different Pakistani diaspora and does this. And now they are using social media, as social media has become extremely powerful tool. And if you are active on social media, you'll see there are regular websites from which social media broadcasts keep churning out, giving out Pakistan's point of view. I think what we need to do is firstly to counter them, and also
so that these accounts can be blocked.
All right, taking a quick question for Major General KK Sinha as well. Major General KK Sinha, if we take a look at some of the facts being mentioned in this particular report, it does mention that the Pak PR firm is linked to the Pakistani army, how Facebook identifies Pakistani groups. This is certainly a major crackdown as well on the hate content that was being shared. How important is this, apart from Facebook, in a way, creating this report and also, in a way, discontinuing many of these accounts, that we raise such issues on international platforms with other countries?
Absolutely. When you are saying that, you have to carry out, and if you want to just mitigate this problem, you want to actually target this problem, there are methods which are the active as well as the passive way of doing it. We just can't leave it to this media houses, your social media houses, like Facebook and things like that, to only take the actions, and we do not do anything. See, they have, at their own, they have done it. But if you go and ask our cyber cell, which is countering this, they know very much. It starts from honey trapping right up to the fake news like classified journal. You see, the classified journal, when I am talking about CJ Post, is it a very serious matter? The classified journals is, it is just not like that. Someone will post it. If you get a very authenticated, credentials, then only you will get a classified journal status. So if they have infiltrated inside that, if you are saying the PR firm which has got a linkages, I am very sure there is no linkages. It is the ISI, the wing or a section which is the part of the PR. You are saying that it is a PR, who has been hired. They have not been hired. It's a part of it. I am very sure about it. And this is the same line which the Chinese have been doing it, in spite of the fact that these social medias, they have blocked it in their own country, but Pakistan was able to do it. See, in this report only, you see how they were trying to bring out a misinformation, saying that there is a tussle between Indian diplomat and the US diplomat. And this was happening right when there was an election. And they were trying to create such a narrative. So this is also becomes a part of narrative creation, and which is a very deep. So when you have to actively and passively, you have to, actually target it and counter it. It is better to have, the best counter is that you have a system which absolutely do this the same thing, unfortunately, which we are not doing it. We do not have, these type of social media, counter attack on them. We can't do it until unless you have got some platform which you have got a credential to do that. So my point is that you have, and you are absolutely right. We have to go and steps higher rather than just depending on the Facebook or Instagram or someone, who is actually the social media who is controlling that. So they will do it at their own. If they want to carry on a particular narrative, which they are, they also create, because they have got audience in all over the world, and especially English-speaking audience.
Absolutely, Major General Soy, if I could bring you in, as the Major General was pointing out, the timing of these posts becomes extremely important. And as we've seen in various countries across the world, there have been instances of political meddling at the time of elections, which are done very, very discreetly through social media platforms. Now, it also, in a sense, opens up another front that India has to counter now.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. In fact, the social media is used in a very, very scientific manner. there's a targeted audience for that. They have a target audience. Okay, this kind of audience, now we need to target this particular religion, we need to target this particular age group, we need to target the English speaking, we need to target the Urdu speaking. So that is the and use of latest technology, whether it is AI or whosoever is where it is clicking, and how you can get into that, and the kind of language which is used, the kind of content, because the youth need different kind of content, the older people need different kind of content. Everything is very, very scientifically designed. It is not like they just post it on the Facebook and Twitter, and everything is well planned and designed. And there is a need, what General Sinha brought out and what you had mentioned is, we need to go beyond Facebook, Twitter, all these platforms, because by the time they take action, it is already very late. The kind of news, the fake news has already spread, the things have already gone. And what they have timed it at the right time, or whatever they have timed it for some incident or some event, and the effect has already taken place by the time they are banned. Like, for example, I would like to say very disturbing news which you have been showing, that Modi declares war on Indian Muslims. I mean, imagine the kind of effect it will have the Muslim diaspora across the world, where we know it, that they are treated equal, whether it is a welfare scheme, whether it is vaccination, whether the money going to their account, whether it is a farm insurance, whether it is any kind of welfare activities, everybody is treated equal. But the kind of narrative which is set here, it shows that across the world, probably people sitting in US, people sitting in Middle East, and people sitting in UK would think that I don't know what kind of atrocities are being conducted on the minorities in India. So, I mean, we need to be proactive in this. We need to be counter, and we need to use our diplomatic influence, which India has at present, very strong diplomatic relations with across the world, to shame Pakistan on making this kind of false narration, even whether it is the Middle East, US, UK, because they also brought out the strained relation between India and US. That kind of news is being highlighted. So they are all fake news. We need to take the word with us and isolate them and shame them. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, a very important point being raised by Major General Soy. Also taking a question from Captain Alok, extending to what Major Soy has stated. Captain Alok, do you also believe that the narrative being set by these posts, by these, in fact, in a way, in a concerted way, harm a country's image on a global platform? And what more should be done? We have seen action being taken by our own government during the protests that happened and were witnessed, and we saw the social media platforms, how they were being used, and after that, social media platforms were held accountable. But what more can we do when such a thing is being done on an international platform?
See, firstly, we need to understand that all these campaigns are waged using AI tools, and they have specific campaigns for a particular specific audience. Like in Europe, they are trying to propagate that India is actually not treating its minorities well, and to the Western world, they are also trying to show that India has failed to deal with pandemic. In fact, they have tried to highlight the pathetic state. They have tried to show that